smart place on the dial, you know, in Utah, and I hope that they're donating to this fund drive of yours, because, you know, to an author who's on the road like me, this really matters. You know, you go on in some media, and the questions are shallow. They've read the press release from the publisher, but this is just a wonderful place for us to talk. So go ahead, ask that
nice
question.
of you to say. Good. Well, so there's the. If you're like Jordan Fisher-Smith, if you value deep conversations, intelligent questions, a good interviewer, if you think this really matters, like he said, give us a call. Here's how.
801-581-5837. If you are off the Wasatch Front, you can reach us at 800-313-5837. And if you are just starting your workday before you crack into that email box, please visit us online at KUER.org and click the donate button. We have a goal of $7,100 to reach here in about the next 10 minutes. It's lofty, but I think we can do it with just a few of you giving us a call. 801-581-5837.
I think we can do it with the fans of Radio West who are warming up. Like they're doing light stretches as they get ready to listen to Radio West. Well, I know how many fans there are of this program coming up at 9 o'clock. Our wonderful local hour with Doug Fabrizio and his producers Elaine Clark and Benjamin Bombard. By the way, Ben has fans, Hannah Whitney and Reed Persing, specifically from Salt Lake City. Give a shout out to Ben. They still have your coffee mug, by the way, Ben. Anyway, think about the conversations that you've just heard this week alone. On Monday, an amazing show about whether we should be doing IQ testing on kids and the different kinds of intelligence that are out there and should be respected and honored. A fascinating conversation with Utah poets yesterday, and today a really different type of show about a Netflix special called Abducted in Plain Sight. And Nicole and I were talking about this in the break room just a minute ago. You're not going to hear this kind of conversation anywhere else. If it matters to you, please give us a call. 801-581-5837. Go online at KUER.org.
If you're listening, we don't need to tell you. That author didn't need to tell you. You know that this is the smart spot on the dial. And if you haven't given yet, today is a great day to do it. The first 200 people to become new sustainers today will not only get their thank you gift, but they will get 2 tickets to the Utah Arts Fest coming up this summer, which is always a great event, lots of fun. Being a sustainer is really important. It's really important to our budget to be able to plan and have a sustainable, reliable monthly source of income from our amazing sustainers. So help us keep the momentum going for the station for this morning. 801-581-5837. Become a sustainer, and we have a lot of great ways to say thank you.
All right, there's smart speakers, smartphones, smart homes now. But if smart devices are taking over your life, consider welcoming a simple yet very satisfying addition to your home. The public radio. It's a radio that comes inside a mason jar, and it's pre-tuned to KUER and KUER only. You can listen to shows that explain our complicated world using a truly uncomplicated device. Plus, it's kind of adorable. The public radio, yours for a donation of $20 a month. Here's the number to call.
801-581-5837. Please give us a call and make your gift today. We have $6,900 to go by 9 a.m. Help us reach that and continue to make progress in the last few minutes of this hour.
I heard those public radios really came in useful during power outages last week.
That's what I've heard.
That's been on your mind.
And they're useful, in the morning. If you are like me and you're listening to Morning Edition right now, this is probably how you start your day, and it's just a regular part of your routine. I get up and I immediately turn on KUER, and it is that mason jar radio that I use, and I just kind of carry it around with me throughout the house, wherever I need it. So that gift, among many others, can be yours when you become a sustainer today or make a one-time gift. 801-581-5837.
So many folks who've just called in the last 20 minutes or so. I want to thank James and Don and Julianne and Dwayne and Gretchen and Tessa and Kylie and Jessica and Kevin and Magdalena. Thank you all so much. They're calling from all over the state. Carol Donati called just a few minutes ago and said, I suddenly decided when they were talking to Nicole Nixon that I want to assure that she continues to be able to do the work. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. 801-581-5837, KUER.org. We've this goal to get to $9,000 by 9 o'clock. We are getting very close to the end of this hour, folks, and this is when we need to hear from you. 801-581-5837, KUER.org.
I have a couple people to thank as well. Olivia Cobble in Salt Lake City, thank you. Ron Tucker called in from South Jordan. Robert Quintana in Salt Lake City. And Saeed Zuna Kermani from Midvale. Thank you so much for calling. You can add your name to that list. 801-581-5837 or online. So easy at KUER.org.
We are hearing the phones continue to ring in the volunteer room next to us. When you give us a call, a wonderful volunteer will pick up the phone and take your pledge. It's just 2 minutes out of your morning routine. So please make your pledge today in support of KUER and local journalism and in the national and global programs you hear on KUER. 801-581-5837.
When you go online to give your gift to us, consider this gift. If you don't need another mug or another bag, if you'd like to help another wonderful nonprofit organization, think about Kids Eat. So for $60 or $5 a month, you provide a buddy bag that's filled with food for a child who otherwise might be going hungry in the evenings or over a weekend. A wonderful local nonprofit, Kids Eat is the name. $120 or $10 a month will provide 2 buddy bags for children, and $20 a month, 4 buddy bags filled with good food. We really appreciate the work that our listeners do. They're just good folk. They just really help out everywhere they look, and we really appreciate it. We're glad you're part of our community and part of our family. 801-581-5837, KUER.org.
I was just reflecting on all of the stories we've heard just in the last hour, and they've ranged from really tragic with that story earlier in the hour out of Syria to the kind of humorous with the baseball tactics just recently that you heard, and then as you said earlier that we're headed into Radio West, which is always a really compelling program and has such variety in terms of the subjects that they cover every day, and there is no other place that I want to hear this type of news than KUER. When stories are really tragic at their heart and need to be humanized, NPR does an excellent job of that, and they do an excellent job of keeping things light as well. But we cannot continue to bring you that type of programming without your support. Public journalism is a partnership between stations and our listening communities. So please give us a call, 801-581-5837. If you were just starting your workday, go on over to KUER.org and click the donate button.
Remember, it is Sustainer Day today, so the first 200 people to become new sustainers. So those of you who always wanted to do this, here's a reason. You get 2 tickets to the Utah Arts Festival, in addition to one of the great thank you gifts you'll find online. A wonderful stainless steel straw kit comes with a cleaner. There's great new mugs and a really awesome bag for hiking. Take a look at it, KUER.org. There's so many ways we want to say thank you. So give us a call, 801-581-5837. Go online quickly at KUER.org. We're going into Radio West, but we really appreciate your support today. Thank you.
This is KUER in Salt Lake City, also heard at KUEU Logan, KUXU Monroe, KUHU Monticello, KUOU Roosevelt, and KUQU in Enoch. That phone number one more time, 801-581-5837, KUER.org, and thank you for your support.
From KUER News in Salt Lake City, this is Radio West. I'm Dr. Fabrizio. Today's show is a spoiler, and we're going to be kind of shameless about this because you cannot talk about the true crime documentary Abducted in Plain Sight without giving away the juiciest bit. It's not really possible. The documentary tells the story
subpoenas to obtain special counsel Robert Mueller's report on Russian interference in U.S. elections. Democratic Chairman Gerald Nadler of New York says the committee needs to see the whole thing without redactions. He says lawmakers need to be the judge of whether President Trump abused his office. The committee's ranking Republican, Doug Collins of Georgia, says Chairman Nadler is wrong to demand that the Attorney General hand over the unredacted report.
As much as the chairman and I may want to view this material as fundamental underpinning of our justice system, it's a law we cannot. In the face of laws and rules he finds inconvenient, the chairman demands our nation's top law enforcement officer to break the rules and the regulations and the law. This is reckless, it's irresponsible, and it's disingenuous.
It is not clear if Attorney General Bill Barr will comply with the subpoenas. He does plan to release a redacted version of the special counsel's report later this month. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg will address a joint meeting of Congress this hour. NPR's Windsor Johnston reports he's in Washington for events marking the military alliance's 70th anniversary.
At the White House this week, Stoltenberg thanked President Trump for his strong commitment to NATO and for his strong leadership on burden sharing.
NATO is a strong alliance, but to remain a strong alliance, we have to be a fair alliance, and therefore allies have to invest more in defense. You have a very clear message on that, and your message is how to make clear impact.
Trump praised NATO countries for increasing their financial contributions to the alliance, but said the U.S. continues to bear too much of the financial burden. He went on to single out Germany again for not paying its fair share in defense spending. Windsor Johnston, NPR News, Washington.
President Trump has again tweeted a threat to close the southern U.S. border with Mexico. He's seeking to stop more Central American migrants from entering the U.S. Another caravan is headed north. NPR's John Burnett reports from southern Mexico.
They crossed the Guatemala-Mexico border 4 days ago. There are about 400 of them in sneakers, carrying backpacks, some with small children riding on their shoulders. Everyone is sweating. They call themselves La Caravana Chiquita because this one is smaller than the much larger caravans that arrived at the U.S. border earlier this year. It's made up of Hondurans, Salvadorans, Nicaraguans, and Guatemalans. Like the others, they say they're fleeing poverty, joblessness, neighborhood thugs, and corrupt officials. Are they worried about Trump closing the border? We'll run the risk, says Alberto from Nicaragua, traveling with his family. Nothing in life is easy. Everything good you have to work for. John Burnett, NPR News, on the Mexico-Guatemala border.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 78 points at 26,256. The Nasdaq is up 1%. This is NPR.
You're listening to our Spring Fun Drive. You're listening to Radio West, and we'll come back to it in just a moment. We want to remind you that we'd love to hear from you if you're a fan of this show. 801-581-5837, KUBR.org. I am a fan of this show today. Yes, I have seen Abducted in Plain Sight.
I watched it last night in preparation. I knew they were doing the show. I knew it was going to be good.
This show is outrageous. So this is such a talker. It's a true crime doc that's been getting all kinds of buzz. The story is so crazy, and the conversation today is going to be excellent. If you tune in to Radio West because you don't hear this kind of conversation anywhere else, and you know you don't, please support it with your pledge. 801-581-5837. You can go online to KUBR.org. Show Doug Fabrizio that you appreciate this kind of work. It's his banner day today, and the first 200 people who call will be getting 2 tickets to the Utah Arts Festival in addition to a thank you gift. Give us a call, 801-581-5837. KUBR. Thank you.
This is Radio West, and Dr. When the filmmaker Scott Rosen's documentary Abducted in Plain Sight came out in 2017, I'm sure people saw it, and I'm sure people talked about it, but really at the time, not that many people. It didn't really get any traction until late last year when Netflix bought it and put it on their system, and it wasn't long before people went nuts. The film was viral, became a phenomenon, and if you've seen it, you know why. If you haven't seen it, you should not be listening to this program right now because we are going to spoil the crap out of this thing. Honestly, the whole show today is a spoiler, but we wanted to talk about it for the reasons we'll hear in a moment, and I guess we figured by now most of you got a text or a phone call from a friend asking, have you seen Abducted in Plain Sight? And you did. And you were mystified and angry as the rest of us. maddening, and baffling than the one before, Berchtold manages to, as the title of the film says, abduct and sexually abuse this young girl in plain sight. Joining us today to talk about it is Lee Hale, who reports on religion for KVR. He's working on a podcast for the station. Lauren Hunt is with the Utah County Attorney's Office, where she prosecutes sex crimes and domestic violence. And Kyle Bishop is with us. He's a professor of English at Southern Utah University, where he teaches courses in film and television studies and American literature. He's joining us from the studios of the student station at SUU in Cedar City. I should mention, Abducted in Plain Sight is now streaming on Netflix and on Amazon. The first question, of course, is gut reaction. I think that's almost the most interesting thing about this documentary is how people are just reacting on impulse. Like the first 10 minutes. What was yours? Because I think, as I understand it, it's fascinating because I think you've said you thought you were losing your mind.
Yes. A friend had told me to watch it, and so I think literally in the first 10 minutes I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? This is insane. And I texted other prosecutors that I work with. I was like, have you seen this? I think I'm going crazy. How is this possible? And it just all, I mean, yeah, the first 10, 20 minutes, it just jumps right into the insanity.
Yeah.
So I think I was just like, holy, this is, I mean, I see these types of cases all the time, but this was so exaggerated and crazy.
Lee, what did you think? What was your...
Well, you told me to watch it, first of all, so
That's
it's your
right.
fault.
This is true. I kind of biased your reaction.
You're like, I want to talk about this thing. I don't want to tell you anything more about it.
Yeah, you can't.
And I understand why.
Yes.
For me, it was like, I think I try to be clever when I watch these kinds of things. I try to assume, like, I know where it's going. And this is one of the documentaries that I've experienced where you cannot assume that you know what's happening. And that's what was disorienting about it for me. It was like, I've listened to Serial, and then I've watched all these other things, and I've watched these HBO specials and whatever, but this just kind of felt like a new level of creepy and disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
And Pocatello's not that far away, so it was like, oh, this is close. And so for me, it just felt like it was too fast for me. Like my mind couldn't keep up. I did not know where they were going.
How did you react? Like when you, like the first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, what was your gut reaction?
So I'm a film teacher, so I started by trying to just look at it critically. Is this a good film? How are they going to tell the story? How is it unfolding? And yeah, about 5 minutes in, and that all went out the window, because then I was just staring at the screen with my jaw open. Reacting mostly as a parent, just kind of with this shock and disbelief that even in the 70s, these claims that, well, we didn't know, it just got increasingly more ludicrous, to the point where I kind of thought the lines between documentary and fiction were definitely blurring.
Yeah. I think there's that sense of incredulity, like that is crazy, that can't be. But then I think that gives way